questions that the board has comprised that we'll be asking you, and we'll go in the same format we did last time. We all been assigned a question. At the end, there may be questions from the audience, and we will ask those as well. So relax, and we'll begin.
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Stellini will be the first question.
How has your education prepared you for this position?
Thank you for asking that. I am, at this point, considered ABD with my doctoral program, which means all but dissertation. And I have to say that for the past 2 years, the work that I've been involved in has directly had an impact on being a superintendent. And the fact that we've studied a lot of theory, we've studied a lot of application of that theory, and also I have had the opportunity to be in a room with 16 others who are in my cohort who have similar experiences that I do. And even though I had already had master's and specialist degree, I do believe that now I am academic as a researcher. And I know that when we are looking to implement programs, we need to research. And so I think what I have now that I didn't have before is I can write academically and I can research academically, which will assist me greatly in this position.
Thank you.
So the next question is mine. What is your experience working with unions? How would you plan to create a unified team mentality?
I did have the experience of negotiating contracts in more than one cycle in Clare, and I learned through that process that it is important to have a very positive relationship with all of your different union groups. And I also learned that a contract is a positive thing. The positive contract does a couple of things. It ensures your staff that there's something that both sides can go to and use to discuss an issue. It also gives both sides a common ground from which to problem solve and so forth. As far as creating positive relationships, I had monthly meetings with all of the groups, and also it was a let's not wait for the monthly meeting if there's something we need to talk about. And so I feel as if my personal desire to have relationships that foster the ability to talk about difficult situations as well as celebrate things that are working well only serves to create an open door and a desire to make sure that we can deal with the things that are difficult and the things that are exciting. So I'm a confident person when it comes to working with the union groups. Now the thing that I was excited about is the fact that AFT is here. I'm going on a little bit longer than you asked, but I kind of want to share this with you. When I was in Grayling, and I was there for 19 years, it was an American Federation of Teachers district. And so that was exciting to me. I thought, well, that's exciting to know that that's the organization that's here in Taylor. It was MEA for me that I worked with when I was in Clare.
Kevin Nixon, our assistant superintendent for instruction will be retiring in June. What would you be looking for in the next person to oversee our instructional and curriculum?
I believe that whomever would be replacing her would be someone with a skill set that allows that person to be collaborative and knowledgeable in filling in where other people on the team maybe need support. And so to fully answer your question, Mr. Honeycutt, I believe I need to know what our full team has. You know, right from the get-go, I want someone who is collaborative and able to support and research for the district, you know, on a surface level. But I think to understand what the rest of the team's strengths are is also important to be able to fully answer your question. But I know that collaboration for that person's position is of utmost importance.
All right, thank you.
What would you want your first accomplishment to be as the new superintendent?
To be visible and to get to know as many people as possible, genuinely and sincerely. To learn the policies of this district and to be supportive of the school board's expectations for me.
This next question has a couple parts to it. Why are you qualified to handle the Taylor School District's budget? And what would be your first steps to familiarize yourself with the budget and to make sure we stay out of a deficit? How would you begin to build a fund balance?
Okay. I was working as a partner with the finance officer in Clare, and we were in a spending of the fund balance situation for 3 years while I was there. And together we turned that around so that going into the 4th and 5th year, now this 5th year that I'm not there, they're not spending fund balance. So I worked with her and the finance committee to get us onto a plan for not spending fund balance, because I understand the importance of that. In addition, I served on the MASA board of directors for 3 years and learned a great deal about the importance of budget through that process. So I feel as if I have a great understanding. We also had the bond process where I learned about a district's debt and how you can do different things with that debt to be creative and clever within the allowable rules and regulations associated with that. We also had Title I and different budgets within the state and federal programs realm, and I work closely with our state and federal programs individual on those grants and so forth, so I'm very knowledgeable in that regard also. In addition, when you have limited funding, we're at the base allowance there, you have to do some clever things in order to be able to stretch the dollar as far as possible. And so I believe that through the different budget cuts that we had to do there, I mentioned those before, from $900,000 to $150,000 and anywhere in between, different types of engaging of community and staff to facilitate those budget cuts. They were all led by me, so I feel a confidence in that regard as well. Also, the program analysis and program evaluation process that we have gone through there to be able to determine which programs are best for students, knowing that a program that is there that is not servicing students well is a program that maybe should be reconsidered for continuation. So for those reasons, I feel as if I have a competency when it comes to analyzing a budget to make sure that whatever's being spent is being spent well. I am excited that there's a team here in the finance department and that all of those individuals would be of counsel to me and would be able to share fully how the budget is being utilized at this time and would be transparent in that regard, so that I could definitely inform the board in conjunction with that team as far as what we need to do and how we need to do it best, and where we could look first for things that maybe we could analyze to decide and involve the appropriate stakeholders and collaborate to decide if we would want to make any changes and how we would make those. So I feel from the experiences I've had in the past that I would have a confidence and would know exactly where to look in the budget to see what we could do and how we could do it.
I have the next question. What steps would you take to raise student achievement and advocate for student needs?
Again, student achievement is completely data-driven, but kid-centered, in my opinion. And so, while numbers can all be spun and analyzed and determined to see where we're at as far as gaps and holes, we still need to collaborate with the teachers and think of those numbers as attached to individuals. And so having said that, you know, I have looked at the My School data and have been able to just glean some trends and some things that I think would give us some starting points. As I mentioned in the PowerPoint with the bottom 30%, and there's a couple of subgroups that are falling behind more than the others. And then math I had mentioned last time I was here. And so I feel like with the team of individuals who are assigned to particular curriculum areas, we could definitely dig in and start having discussions on where would we have the largest impact first. And those are the areas that are smartest to address, knowing that we want to work on things for all children. And you have leaders in all of your buildings that could definitely also provide wonderful input to me so that we could further refine a plan, so that we could map it out and make sure we're addressing things, like I said, for all kids.